Blood pressure is often spoken of as a fixed number, a rigid diagnosis, a permanent label that arrives with age and quietly settles into daily life. Yet biologically, blood pressure is anything but fixed. It is a living, responsive expression of how the body is interacting with the world moment by moment. Every heartbeat, every breath, every emotional shift, every step, every thought sends signals that shape this dynamic system. To understand this is to realize that high blood pressure after 60 is not a life sentence, but a message, one that can be answered with awareness, intention, and simple daily action. Inside the body, blood pressure reflects a delicate balance between the heart's pumping force and the flexibility of the blood vessels. In youth, arteries are soft, elastic, and responsive, expanding gently with each pulse and returning smoothly to their original shape. Over time, factors such as stress, inflammation, inactivity, dehydration, and metabolic imbalance reduce this elasticity. Vessels stiffen, resistance increases, and the heart compensates by pumping harder. The numbers on the monitor rise, not as a failure, but as a survival strategy. The body is adapting to years of accumulated signals. This adaptation, however, is not permanent. The blood vessels remain biologically active tissues, constantly remodeling themselves in response to daily stimuli. Their inner lining, known as the endothelium, plays a crucial role in regulating dilation, inflammation, clotting, and blood flow. These cells respond rapidly to movement, breathing patterns, hydration levels, emotional states, and nutritional inputs. Gentle exercise stimulates the release of natural compounds that relax the vessels. Deep breathing calms nerve signals that cause constriction. Even brief periods of relaxation can lower vascular tension within minutes. The system is always listening. The nervous system holds extraordinary influence over blood pressure. Chronic stress activates the body's threat response, increasing heart rate, tightening arteries, and elevating circulating stress hormones. When this state becomes prolonged, high blood pressure becomes the new baseline. Yet the nervous system is designed to shift fluidly between activation and relaxation. Practices that promote calm, slow breathing, mindful movement, stillness, and gentle awareness signal safety to the brain. As this message settles, heart rate slows, vessels soften, and pressure decreases. The body does not need force to heal. It needs permission. Inflammation quietly alters blood vessel behavior. Low-grade chronic inflammation, common with aging and sedentary lifestyles, reduces nitric oxide production, a compound essential for vessel relaxation. Inflammatory signals also encourage stiffness and plaque formation. Simple habits such as light walking, hydration, adequate sleep, and relaxed breathing steadily reduce inflammatory load. As inflammation subsides, vessels regain flexibility, circulation improves, and the heart's workload eases. Blood pressure follows this shift naturally. Movement, even in its gentlest forms, plays a profound role. Muscular contractions assist venous return, reducing resistance in the vascular system. Physical activity also enhances insulin sensitivity, lipid metabolism, and mitochondrial function, all of which influence vascular health. Just a few minutes of daily movement sends biochemical signals that favor healing rather than strain. Over time, these repeated signals reshape the baseline state of the cardiovascular system. Breathing deserves special attention. Slow, deep breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, a key regulator of heart rhythm and vascular tone. With each long exhale, blood pressure subtly declines. Its effect accumulates over time, retraining cardiovascular reflexes towards stability. Breathing becomes a bridge between conscious intention and unconscious physiology, offering direct access to systems once thought beyond voluntary control. Sleep, hydration, posture, and emotional well-being also contribute to blood pressure regulation. During restful sleep, the cardiovascular system enters a state of repair, allowing vessels to relax and regenerate. Adequate hydration maintains blood volume and flow efficiency. Upright posture improves circulation dynamics. Emotional calm reduces hormonal stress responses. Each of these elements interacts continuously, shaping blood pressure throughout the day and night. Perhaps most transformative is the realization that small habits create large outcomes. The body does not require dramatic change to heal. It responds powerfully to consistency. 10 minutes of daily care can influence cellular signaling, gene expression, and vascular remodeling. Over weeks, arteries soften. Over months, regulation stabilizes. What once seemed inevitable begins to shift quietly and steadily. This understanding restores a sense of agency. Blood pressure is no longer something that simply happens to us. It becomes something we participate in shaping. Each calm breath, each gentle step, each moment of awareness sends instructions to millions of cells. The body listens, adjusts, and responds. In this way, health after 60 transforms from a battle into a dialogue. The body is not broken, it is communicating. And when we learn to speak its language through simple, daily habits, blood pressure becomes not a permanent verdict, but a flexible expression of renewed balance and vitality. Small daily habits have a profound impact on blood pressure, yet their power is often underestimated because they are gentle, brief, and easy to overlook. Many people assume that controlling blood pressure requires medications, strict diets, or hours at the gym, but the reality is that the cardiovascular system responds remarkably to consistent, simple cues. The body is designed to adapt, to remodel itself, and to restore balance when given clear, repeated signals. Even 10 minutes of mindful activity each day can begin to influence heart function, vascular elasticity, and overall cardiovascular resilience. Every habit we practice sends messages to the cells lining our arteries, to the nerves controlling vessel tone, and to the heart itself. These cells are remarkably sensitive to their environment. When exposed to stress, they constrict, stiffen, and signal inflammation. When exposed to movement, calm breathing, or gentle stretching, they relax, release nitric oxide, and become more elastic. Over time, this consistent stimulation reshapes the baseline behavior of blood vessels, improving blood flow and reducing pressure. What may seem like small, almost trivial actions accumulate into meaningful, measurable changes in cardiovascular function. The nervous system is central to these changes. Chronic tension and stress activate the sympathetic nervous system, which constricts blood vessels and elevates heart rate. When daily habits incorporate periods of calm, such as slow breathing, meditation, or gentle movement, the parasympathetic system is engaged, signaling the body that it is safe to relax. This shift not only lowers immediate blood pressure, but also retrains cardiovascular reflexes to respond more calmly to future stressors. The nervous system, in effect, learns to maintain equilibrium more consistently, making stability the default rather than the exception. Movement, even for a few minutes, is a powerful habit. Gentle exercise enhances circulation, strengthens the heart, and engages muscles that assist in returning blood efficiently to the heart. It also improves insulin sensitivity and lipid metabolism, reducing metabolic stress that contributes to vascular stiffness. Light walking, stretching, or simple resistance movements stimulate biochemical pathways that reduce inflammation and promote vessel health. The body interprets these repeated, gentle challenges as cues to maintain flexibility and responsiveness, leading to progressive reductions in blood pressure over weeks and months. Breathing exercises have an equally remarkable effect. Slow, controlled breathing influences the vagus nerve, which communicates directly with the heart and blood vessels. Each deliberate exhale encourages relaxation of the vessels, a slight reduction in heart rate, and a calming of the nervous system. Over time, this practice conditions the body to respond to stress with more moderation. The rhythm of breath becomes a tool for regulating pressure, demonstrating how intentional habits can access systems once thought automatic and immutable. Hydration is another simple yet powerful daily habit. Adequate water intake helps maintain blood volume, enhances circulation, and supports cellular function. Dehydration increases vascular resistance, prompting the heart to work harder and raising pressure. Even small adjustments to daily water consumption send signals to the body that it can operate efficiently, which over time reinforces healthier blood pressure patterns. This is an example of how subtle habits, repeated consistently, produce measurable physiological effects. Nutrition, when approached as a daily habit rather than a temporary intervention, also contributes to cardiovascular stability. Foods rich in potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants influence vascular tone and reduce inflammation. Dietary choices impact cellular signaling, gene expression, and hormone balance, all of which affect blood pressure regulation. The cumulative effect of daily attention to nutrition is often more powerful than sporadic efforts or restrictive diets, demonstrating the principle that regularity and consistency trump intensity in long-term cardiovascular health. Sleep and daily routines form another pillar of effective habits. Quality sleep allows the cardiovascular system to rest, reduces systemic stress, and supports cellular repair. When habits include predictable schedules, calming pre-sleep practices, and adequate rest, the body enters a rhythm that reinforces blood pressure stability. In combination with movement, breathing, hydration, and nutrition, these habits interact synergistically, each amplifying the effectiveness of the others. The beauty of daily habits lies in their accessibility. They do not require special equipment, expensive programs, or complex schedules. They work because they communicate with the body's natural regulatory systems, tapping into biology that is responsive at any age. By practicing these habits consistently, adults over 60 can achieve meaningful improvements in vascular health, heart function, and blood pressure control without relying solely on medications or drastic lifestyle shifts. Consistency is the secret ingredient. More repeated actions create a foundation of cellular, vascular, and neural adaptation. Over time, the arteries become more elastic, inflammation decreases, and cardiovascular reflexes stabilize. Blood pressure is no longer a fixed measure determined by age. It becomes a living reflection of daily choices, habits, and attentiveness. The power to influence it rests in simple, manageable practices repeated each day, proving that profound health benefits often emerge from the smallest, most deliberate actions. This understanding transforms how we view prevention and intervention. Blood pressure is not merely a number to be monitored. It is a signal of how our bodies are interacting with daily life. Habits shape these signals, and through awareness, consistency, and intentional practice, we can guide them towards stability, resilience, and lasting health. Each small habit compounds, influencing not only the cardiovascular system, but overall vitality, demonstrating the deep intelligence of the human body and its capacity for renewal and adaptation. The body's response to blood pressure is not solely mechanical. It is profoundly influenced by the subtle, cumulative choices we make every day. Among these, certain habits exert an extraordinary effect, not because they are intense or complicated, but because they consistently engage the physiological systems that regulate vascular function. These are the habits that scientists have identified as especially potent, the routines that can lower pressure, improve vessel elasticity, and reduce inflammation, all without medication. Their strength lies in their ability to reach the body at the cellular level, influencing mechanisms that were once thought inaccessible to deliberate daily practice. One of the most remarkable aspects of these habits is how they work in combination. Blood vessels, the nervous system, the heart, and endocrine signals all interact dynamically. A single action, such as a brief period of deep breathing, affects multiple systems simultaneously. It lowers heart rate, relaxes vascular smooth muscle, and decreases circulating stress hormones. The body interprets these signals not as temporary change, but as an instruction to reset toward balance. Over time, repeated exposure to such signals produces measurable shifts in physiology, leading to sustained improvements in blood pressure and cardiovascular health. Movement forms a central pillar of these habits. It need not be strenuous, it need not exhaust the body. Even a short daily walk, gentle stretching, or simple isometric exercises engages muscles that support circulation, triggers nitric oxide release, and promotes vascular flexibility. Muscles act as pumps, assisting venous return and reducing resistance in the circulatory system. These mechanical effects are enhanced by biochemical signaling. Movement increases insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and strengthens mitochondrial function, all of which contribute to vascular health. By performing these movements consistently, the body is reminded of its capacity for regulation and resilience, reinforcing the systems that maintain healthy pressure. Nutrition, when treated as a daily habit rather than an occasional intervention, further amplifies these effects. Foods rich in potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants support endothelial function and reduce oxidative stress, enabling arteries to remain flexible. Even small adjustments in dietary intake, repeated day after day, produce cumulative effects on blood vessel responsiveness and overall cardiovascular tone. Similarly, hydration influences blood volume and viscosity, improving flow and reducing strain on the heart. Each of these habits, while individually simple, communicates a powerful message to the body that it is capable of stability, efficiency, and repair. The nervous system plays a unique and critical role in blood pressure regulation, and many of these habits engage it directly. Chronic stress activates sympathetic pathways that increase heart rate and constrict arteries. Conversely, relaxation practices, mindfulness, slow breathing, and meditation stimulate parasympathetic activity, signaling safety and allowing vessels to relax. This neural recalibration can produce immediate reductions in pressure, but when practiced consistently, it trains the system to respond to daily stressors with resilience rather than rigidity. The body, over time, interprets these signals as the new normal, gradually lowering baseline pressure. Inflammation is another key target of these habits. Chronic low-grade inflammation stiffens vessels and promotes endothelial dysfunction, making the cardiovascular system less adaptable. Regular light movement, anti-inflammatory dietary choices, adequate sleep, and stress management reduce these inflammatory signals, allowing arteries to regain elasticity and improving the heart's efficiency. Each repetition of these habits compounds their effect, influencing vascular tone and reducing the risk of long-term complications such as heart attack or stroke. Sleep and daily routine reinforce the effectiveness of these practices. During deep sleep, blood pressure naturally dips, allowing vessels to rest and repair. Inconsistent sleep or disrupted circadian rhythms impair this process, making the cardiovascular system more vulnerable to stress and inflammation. By cultivating habits that support consistent rest, combined with the other daily practices, the body experiences synergistic benefits that extend far beyond the immediate reduction of pressure. Even seemingly minor actions can have disproportionate effects. A few minutes of mindful breathing, a brief walk, or gentle stretches can be as transformative as more intensive interventions because they target multiple systems simultaneously. The cumulative effect of repeated intentional habits rewires the cardiovascular system's responses, restoring flexibility, lowering resistance, and supporting optimal heart function. These changes occur at the cellular level, improving endothelial health, reducing oxidative stress, and promoting effective signaling throughout the vascular network. The most striking feature of these practices is their accessibility. They do not require expensive equipment, restrictive diets, or complicated routines. What matters most is consistency and intentionality. The cardiovascular system responds not to the magnitude of effort alone, but to the clarity and repetition of signals sent through daily actions. Over weeks and months, these modest habits produce profound results, demonstrating that the body retains an extraordinary capacity to adapt and heal, even in later years. In embracing these simple, yet powerful routines, individuals are no longer passive observers of their health. They become active participants, guiding their cardiovascular system toward resilience, elasticity, and stability. Each habit reinforces the others, creating a network of interventions that support long-term health. The body, given these consistent cues, reclaims balance, and blood pressure becomes not a fixed limitation, but a dynamic, responsive measure of the life choices made every day. Through intentional, manageable actions, the potential for transformation is both immediate and enduring. Confidence in one's own body is a subtle, yet profoundly important aspect of blood pressure management and overall cardiovascular health, particularly after the age of 60. As people age, they often become acutely aware of their physical vulnerability. The fear of sudden spikes in blood pressure, the concern over dizziness or shortness of breath, or the worry of a cardiovascular event can create a mental and physiological feedback loop that actually exacerbates the very conditions they hope to prevent. The body responds to stress and anxiety by constricting blood vessels, releasing stress hormones, and increasing heart rate, all of which elevate blood pressure. Yet this cycle can be disrupted, and confidence in movement and self-care can be restored through carefully structured, science-backed habits practiced consistently every day. One of the most powerful tools for rebuilding confidence is predictable, manageable action. When daily routines incorporate specific brief interventions aimed at supporting vascular health, the body begins to anticipate these cues and adjust accordingly. Simple habits such as a short walk, gentle stretches, or a few minutes of deep, Rhythmic breathing provides repeated reinforcement to the nervous system and cardiovascular system alike. Over time, these repeated cues encourage the vessels to remain flexible, the heart to maintain a steady rhythm, and the stress response to recalibrate, producing both physiological stability and psychological reassurance. This demonstrates that confidence is not merely a mental state. It is inseparable from the body's adaptive capacity. Repetition is key to this process. The nervous system thrives on consistent signals, learning to anticipate and respond efficiently to familiar routines. When blood pressure-lowering habits are practiced daily, the brain receives clear messages that the body is safe and capable, and the cardiovascular system is allowed to settle into a more stable state. Each small success, whether it is a slightly lower reading on the monitor or the effortless completion of a brief exercise, reinforces a sense of mastery. Over weeks, these successes accumulate into a broader perception of capability, which itself reduces stress-induced vascular tension and strengthens the body's ability to regulate blood pressure naturally. Confidence also arises from the awareness of control. Many people over 60 feel that their blood pressure is predetermined by age, genetics, or past lifestyle choices. Yet studies consistently show that even brief 10-minute interventions can produce meaningful reductions in pressure, demonstrating that the body remains responsive and adaptable. When individuals recognize that their daily actions directly influence their cardiovascular outcomes, a sense of agency emerges. This psychological shift is crucial because the perception of control itself reduces the chronic stress response, further contributing to cardiovascular stability. Confidence and physiological health, therefore, reinforce each other in a continuous feedback loop. Sensory awareness and mindfulness play a complementary role in rebuilding confidence. By paying attention to subtle bodily cues during exercise, movement, or breathing, individuals learn to anticipate changes in their heart rate, blood pressure, or energy levels. This awareness allows them to adjust posture, pace, or intensity in real time, enhancing safety and reinforcing the body's ability to self-regulate. Proprioception, the body's internal sense of position and movement, improves with these practices, providing a tangible sense of stability and reinforcing the psychological experience of control. The role of small, achievable goals cannot be overstated. By structuring daily habits into incremental, attainable steps, individuals experience repeated reinforcement of their capacity to effect change. These micro-successes, though modest, accumulate into significant physiological and psychological improvement. The body gradually adapts to each new cue. Arterial elasticity improves, inflammation declines, and the heart's workload becomes more efficient. Each accomplishment strengthens confidence, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a stable, embodied sense of capability. Social reinforcement and accountability further enhance the development of confidence. Practicing these habits in a community setting, sharing progress with peers or family, or simply recording daily achievements provides validation and encouragement. This external support complements the internal physiological adaptations, reducing anxiety, enhancing motivation, and embedding confidence more deeply into daily life. Individuals who perceive themselves as supported are more likely to continue their practices consistently, further amplifying the benefits. Additionally, confidence develops through mastery of physiological knowledge. Understanding how specific habits, even brief ones, influence heart rate, vessel elasticity, and stress hormone regulation transforms fear into informed action. Awareness of how controlled breathing lowers sympathetic activation, how light movement stimulates vascular health, and how hydration and sleep influence pressure empowers individuals to interact proactively with their bodies. Knowledge converts uncertainty into clarity, and clarity fosters confidence. Ultimately, confidence in managing blood pressure is built on a foundation of consistent, intentional practice that engages the body, mind, and nervous system simultaneously. Each daily habit functions as both a physiological stimulus and a psychological affirmation, teaching the body to maintain balance and teaching the mind to trust the body's capabilities. Over time, the repetition of small, deliberate actions restores a sense of control, enhances self-efficacy, and strengthens the cardiovascular system in ways that are measurable, tangible, and deeply empowering. This process illustrates that confidence is more than a feeling, it is a biologically rooted state supported by repeated, effective habits. Through consistent practice, the nervous system adapts. Vessels become more responsive, inflammation diminishes, and the heart functions more efficiently. Each of these physiological shifts reinforces a growing sense of assurance, allowing individuals over 62 approach their health with calm, clarity, and certainty. In this interplay between body and mind, confidence emerges as both a cause and a consequence of improved cardiovascular regulation, demonstrating that the act of trusting one's own physiology is itself a critical element of long-term blood pressure management. Independence is one of the most profound markers of well-being, particularly after the age of 60. And it extends far beyond the simple ability to walk or perform tasks without assistance. Independence encompasses control, confidence, and the freedom to make choices that shape daily life. When blood pressure is high or unstable, these abilities can feel threatened. Activities that were once effortless, walking to the mailbox, climbing stairs, preparing meals, may begin to feel daunting, and with that shift comes a subtle erosion of autonomy. Yet the human body retains a remarkable capacity for adaptation, and through deliberate, consistent daily habits, the systems that support cardiovascular stability and overall independence can be strengthened, allowing freedom of movement and choice to flourish once more. At the heart of maintaining independence is stability, both physiological and psychological. Stable blood pressure supports heart function, cerebral perfusion, and muscular performance, all of which are critical for safe, confident movement. When pressure is elevated or variable, fatigue, dizziness, and shortness of breath can create fear, prompting individuals to limit activity. This reduction in movement leads to further physiological decline. Muscles weaken, circulation slows, and the cardiovascular system becomes less resilient. By actively engaging in daily habits that support blood pressure, the body regains its ability to respond efficiently to physical challenges, restoring confidence and autonomy simultaneously. The relationship between physiological stability and independence is therefore intimate and reciprocal. Simple, consistent actions can have profound effects on the systems that underlie independence. Gentle movement, such as walking, stretching, or light resistance exercises, improves circulation, strengthens muscles, and enhances joint stability. Even brief sessions send signals to the cardiovascular system to maintain elasticity and efficient function. When combined with other daily habits, hydration, mindful breathing, proper sleep, and balanced nutrition, these movements produce compounding benefits. Over time, arteries become more flexible, the heart's workload decreases, and the nervous system learns to respond calmly to stress, creating a physiological environment conducive to sustained independence. Psychological resilience is equally essential. Confidence in one's ability to move safely is a prerequisite for maintaining autonomy. Fear of injury or sudden spikes in blood pressure can limit participation in even routine activities, leading to a cycle of avoidance and further decline. By integrating habits that support cardiovascular health, individuals provide repeated experiences of success. The heart rate stabilizes after gentle exertion, dizziness diminishes, and blood pressure readings gradually improve. Each success reinforces self-efficacy, reminding the mind that the body is capable, trustworthy, and responsive. This mental shift reduces stress-induced vascular constriction, creating a feedback loop that further stabilizes blood pressure and strengthens independence. The nervous system plays a critical role in both blood pressure regulation and the perception of independence. Stress, anxiety, and prolonged sympathetic activation increase vascular tension and elevate heart rate, creating conditions that undermine autonomy. Habits such as slow, controlled breathing, mindfulness practices, and light physical activity stimulate parasympathetic activity, signaling safety to the body and lowering baseline cardiovascular strain. Over time, these interventions train the nervous system to respond more efficiently, reducing variability in pressure, improving reaction times, and supporting the ability to perform daily tasks without fear or hesitation. In this way, independence is nurtured not just through muscles and arteries, but through nervous system resilience. Social engagement and support further enhance the maintenance of independence. When individuals practice these habits in supportive environments, Whether through community groups, family encouragement, or shared exercise routines, motivation increases and adherence becomes easier. Social reinforcement strengthens both psychological confidence and physiological outcomes. Engaging in movement with others, sharing successes, and celebrating small milestones provide validation, reduce anxiety, and create a sense of agency that reinforces autonomy. The combination of physical practice, nervous system adaptation, and social support creates a comprehensive framework for sustainable independence. Consistency is the linchpin of lasting change. Daily, repeated actions create a pattern that the body can internalize. The heart, arteries, and nervous system respond to habitual cues, recalibrating toward stability. Habits that may initially feel minor, 10 minutes of walking, a brief breathing exercise, mindful hydration compound into significant physiological improvements. Over weeks and months, these habits reshape vascular function, reduce inflammation, enhance heart efficiency, and improve musculoskeletal coordination. Each adaptation contributes to greater independence, allowing individuals to move freely, engage confidently with their environment, and participate fully in life. Even minor improvements in cardiovascular function can produce outsized benefits for autonomy. A modest decrease in systolic pressure can reduce the risk of dizziness, improve cerebral blood flow, and enhance energy levels, all of which support daily activity. Likewise, increased arterial flexibility and reduced vascular tension allow the heart to respond more efficiently to activity, making ordinary movements feel easier and safer. The compounding effects of these small physiological changes are profound, restoring capabilities that might have seemed diminished or lost with age. Ultimately, independence is sustained when physiological, psychological, and behavioral elements converge. By practicing habits that strengthen the cardiovascular system, reduce stress, and enhance self-efficacy, individuals create a robust foundation for autonomy. The body's natural adaptability allows these repeated cues to produce measurable, lasting improvements, reinforcing a sense of control and mastery. Each deliberate action, each breath, each step, each moment of mindful care serves as both a physiological stimulus and a psychological affirmation, reminding the individual that they remain capable, resilient, and fully in command of their life. Through the consistent integration of these habits, independence transforms from a fragile aspiration into a living, tangible reality. The ability to navigate daily life safely, confidently, and freely is not solely a product of youth. It is a reflection of attentive practice, biological responsiveness, and psychological engagement. In this way, individuals over 60 can reclaim agency, sustain vitality, and experience the freedom to live fully, proving that autonomy is not surrendered with age, but actively nurtured through deliberate, consistent action.